Good morning, everyone. I hope you are well and that you have got a very good rest last night. I can see Guguletu and Liseri was quite early already to say hello. But again, like always, let's say hello to each other. I will give you a minute or two on the chat group. Morning, Lizani. Somebody else there that wants to say hello? Morning, Natalie. Right, Asanda and the rest, very good morning. We're going to start with the lesson for today. You guys will remember yesterday we started to do the cash receipts journal, or the abbreviation that we're going to use is the CRJ. Today, I am going to work a little bit and you guys are going to work a little bit. So today's lesson is still going to be about the CRJ. Again, I'm going to do like a revision of it and work through some examples. And then after that, you guys are going to do, I'm going to give you some time, and then you are going to do an activity. And then after a while, we're going to mark that activity. So you're going to mark your own work to see how did you do in this activity. All right, so again, remember the cash receipts journal. It is a part of the accounting. It's a new journal that you're going to do from this year. What I mean by journal, it's like a book of accounting where you're going to write all the transactions in. Basically, the type of transactions that you're going to write in this journal is cash or money that you received. So if you have a business and you get some money in your business, you receive the money, then that type of transaction will go to the CRJ. And like I said yesterday, there are two source documents involved, and that is going to be a receipt and a cash register roll. And for cash register roll, we're going to use the abbreviation CRR. Right. So let's just again revise on the format of the cash receipts journal. Okay, like I said at the top, you will see the name of the business. So it's cash receipts journal of, and whatever the name of the business is going to be, like in this case, Bason Traders. Then you're going to have different columns with some headings, okay, and that is going to be the format of this journal. So for instance, your first column is your document number column. So in that, you're going to write either receipt or cash register roll with the number of the document. After that, you have a day column. It's the day on which the transaction happened. Then you've got details. Details is you're looking out for a name of a person, and if there's not a name of a person, then you're going to write the word services rendered. Then analysis of receipts, that is your next column. That is like the safe of the business. So every time that you're going to receive money in the business, then you're going to write that type of transaction in there, or the amount you're going to write in there. Then the next column is bank, right? With bank, every day when you, let's say you have one transaction for that day, then you're taking the total to bank. If you have more than one transaction for that day, then at the end of the day, you're going to take the total to bank. And then current income is then the next column. Remember, I've told you yesterday, every time when you write here with details, services rendered, then the amount will be with the current income. And then you have your sundry accounts where you're going to write in the amount and the details. And with sundry accounts is everything else. Like if it is, for instance, capital, there's not a capital column at the top. So then you go into write it with the sundry accounts. Or let's say it is, for instance, rent income, and you don't have a rent income column at the top, then you are going to write it with the sundry accounts. Okay, so basically that is just the format of the CRJ. Right, I see Lucidi saying there on the chat group that the journal is like a first book of entry. You are absolutely correct. So yeah, so after a transaction is happening and it was written in the source document, then you're going to write it into the first book, and that is going to be then your cash receipts journal. Right, so let's look at some examples again. Okay, I said there at the top, Andre Maria invested in Salon Andre, a hairdresser. You need to complete the CRJ for Salon Andre. Transactions for July 2020. Now what I've done here, you will see I've put one transaction and how you are going to write it into the journal. Then another transaction and how you are going to write it into the journal. So let's look at the first one that is on the first. A. Maria started the business by investing 700,000 directly into the bank account. Receipt number 1 was issued. Before we look how it is going to be right in, let us see what is the information that we have in the transaction. So we have the date, the first. We have a name, A. Maria. We have the amount, 700,000. It was invested, so it's capital, and it was directly deposited into the bank account. So it means the amount must go directly to bank. And we've got the source document, receipt number 1. Right, so how do we enter it in the CRJ? First column is your document column, so it's going to be receipt number 1, and we use a R for receipt. Day is on the first, the day on which the transaction happened. Details, we look out for a name of a person. Yes, we've got a name, A. Marie. Then the amount, 700,000, was directly deposited into the bank account. So it's going directly to bank and not with analysis of receipts. If the amount was deposited at the business, yes, then it must go to analysis and then to bank. But here, the little word directly into the bank account is your keyword here, so it goes directly to the bank. And it's a capital transaction. There's not a column at the top for capital, so then you take it to sundry accounts, 700,000, and you say for what it is for capital. Right, another example on the 16th. Services rendered according to the cash register roll number 1, 12,300 Rand. Right, so let's see first what is the details that we have in the transaction. We've got the date, the 16th. There's no name, but we can see it's for services rendered. We've got the source document, cash register roll number 1, and we've got the amount 12,300 Rand. Right, so on the 16th, how are we going to write it in? So on the days, the 16th, we've got the source document, CRR1, cash register roll number 1. And remember, we're going to use CRR as the abbreviation for cash register roll. Then with services rendered is with details because there's not a name of a person in the transaction. So then you write services rendered. The amount is 12,300 Rand. 12,300 Rand was received at the business. So it's going to the safe. So you're going to write it in with analysis of receipts. It's the only transaction for that day. So you're going to take it to bank. And if you write the words, the services rendered with details, then you must also write the amount in with current income. So in this case, there's nothing with sundry accounts. Right, let's look at more examples. There's 2 more dates. Let's see on the 23rd. According to the cash register roll, services was rendered for 21,900. So basically, this is the same type of transaction like the previous one. I've just mixed up the words a little bit more here. Okay, but let's see what is the details that we have. We've got the date. We can see it's a cash register roll, so it's the source document. Again, it was services rendered, and we've got the amount 21,900. So how are we going to enter it into the CRJ? On the 23rd, your source document is the cash register roll, CRR. Okay, I didn't mention here a number because I didn't mention the number in the transaction, but you all can also, in the previous case, if they have given you the number with the previous transaction, then you can just continue with the next number. Then there are no name of a person, so with details, you're going to write services rendered. The amount, 21,900, is received at the business, so it's going to the safe. So you're going to write it in with analysis of receipts. It's the only transaction for that day, so you can take that same total to bank. And again, if you write there with detailed services rendered, then you must also write it in with current income. Just again, what is current income? That means it's all the money that you received with each transaction into the business. So the money is coming in the business so it's a current income. Right, on the 25th, be careful here. I've put 2 transactions on the 25th. So let's see. The owner invested a further 50,000 to the business with a personal check. So that's one transaction. So let's just first look at that transaction. I said to the owner, now I didn't mention here who the owner is, although if you will remember on the previous slideshow, it was A. Maria. We've got the amount 50,000. I've told you here that the money was paid by the owner by a check. Okay, but still, I will explain it now to you. Still, the source document will be a receipt. So let's see how we're going to enter this. So at the document number column, okay, it is a receipt. You can use the R or the REC as abbreviation. You can continue with the next receipt number. It is on the 25th. You can write there the owner, or you could have write there A. Marie, if you remember it from the previous slideshow who the owner is. Then the amount 50,000 Rand will go to analysis of receipts. So, sorry. Why will it go to analysis of receipts? Is because the amount was paid directly at the business. Okay, so 50,000 Rand will go directly to the safe of the business, so it will go to analysis. Then, be careful. Remember, there's another transaction here on the 25th. So you're not going to take it now to bank yet because you need to do the second transaction. But you can say for what is the 50,000 Rand. It is for capital. There's not a capital column at the top. So then you take it to sundry accounts and you say 50,000 Rand and it is for capital. Right, then the second transaction still on the 25th. The cash register roll shows service fees of 32,600. So it's a cash register roll. Service fees or services rendered, that is one and the same thing. The amount is 32,600. So I've told you there with the document number column, it's the CRR, the cash register roll. It's still on the 25th. It was services rendered, so with details because there's not a name of a person. 32,600 will go to analysis of receipts because that is the money that you received in the business, so at the safe. Then you guys will see what they've done now is they add up those 2 transactions on the 25th. So the 50,000 and the 32,600. And the total is going to bank now. So the total is 82,600. But remember, you still need to say, for what is that 32,600? And if you write there with detailed services rendered, then it must go to current income. Right, so the one on the 25th, I'm going to take that one again because there are 2 transactions on the same day. Doesn't matter if there's two transactions on the same day. You do both of them, but take the first one first and then you do the second one. Okay, so the first transaction on the 25th was to say that the owner invested a further 50,000 to the business with a personal check. So you've got your date, you know it's a receipt, then you got the owner or the name of the owner, the amount 50,000 goes to analysis of receipts because it was received directly at the bank, and then the 50,000 rand goes to sundry accounts because it is for capital. Then the next transaction is still on the 25th, but it was a cash register roll for service fees or services rendered of 32,600. So you've got your cash register roll, the CRR. You've got services rendered with details because there's not a name of a person. The 32,600 will go to analysis of receipts because you received the money at the business, but then you need to take the total of those two transactions for the day, add it up, and you take the total to bank. That is why there is 82,600 with bank. But you still need to say that 32,600, for what is that? That is for current income because it was for services rendered. I can see somebody's asking about the homework of yesterday. It was not really homework of yesterday. You guys will remember I've done the examples with you, so that there was not really an exercise that you should have done for yesterday. All right. Okay, so now we're starting to get, now you guys are going to work a little bit. So I hope if you don't have, quickly run and get a pen and paper ready. And then I'm going to tell you what you're going to do now. Okay, it is saying homework, but you're going to do it right now. I'm going to give you basically 10 minutes to see how far you're going to get to do this. Okay, so don't stress. I will give you some time to do this. Right, what does they say? They say then, complete the above transactions for Icon Electrical Services in the cash receipts journal for April 2020. So the name of the business is Icon Electrical Services. You are going to complete the CRJ, the cash receipts journal for April 2020. Then I give you transactions, right? There's on the first transaction, on the 5th, on the 9th, on the 14th, and be careful, the one on the 14th, there are two transactions on the 14th and on the 27th. Right, so I've got the answers on the next slide show, but I don't want to go on. I want you now to quickly, just roughly on a piece of paper, okay, draw yourself the columns, okay, and then with the headings, and I'm going to quickly repeat the headings now, and then you start to see if you can write these transactions in. Okay, so what I will do, I will quickly in the chat group, I will type in just the name of the columns if you don't remember it now. Okay, so the first column is going to be the document number column. Then I will leave some space. Then you will see the next column is day. The next column is going to be details. Then it will be analysis of receipts. Okay, I'm going to send those ones in the meantime. I will send the rest now. So document number, day, details, analysis of receipts. Then the next column will be bank, current income, and at the end, you're going to have your sundry accounts. So right, so there is the headings. So I'm going to give you a while. I'm not going to talk the whole time, otherwise you're not going to concentrate. So I'm going to give you plus minus 10 minutes now. Please don't just sit and wait now, okay? Really try it on your own. Remember, it's only you that's going to see the work now. So doesn't matter if you struggle with it, we are going to mark it now, but at least see if you can understand what you are doing, okay? I just want to say while you're busy, if there's maybe a question in the meantime, then you can put it on the chat group, then we can look at it. All right, there's somebody asking, is this for term 3 or term 2? Thanks, Lasiri, for answering there as well. All right, I said it yesterday, but I'm just going to repeat this because it is important to understand. This is actually still part of term 2's work, all right? But the problem is that due to this lockdown, a lot of you didn't do any term 2 work, or maybe you don't understand it. And we cannot continue with term three's work if you don't know how to do this journal. Okay, especially like in when you're going to be assessed, like in an exam, this journal is counting quite a lot of marks. Okay, I'm talking about here between 15 and 20 marks. So you really need to understand and to can do this because this is the first book of entry, okay, where you need to enter the transactions. Then we're going to do another journal after this, okay? Actually, we're going to start with that one tomorrow. Then next year, when you're going to continue with EMS, then you're going to do more journals, but you cannot do the new ones if you don't understand the old ones. So that is why I have started with this journal, so you can understand it. And then from tomorrow on, when we're going to start the next journal, it is actually term 3. Okay, so today we're still with term 2, tomorrow we are with term 3's work. I'm going to give you 5 more minutes. In the meantime, Nasira, I see you've asked how many journals are there. Yeah, there are quite a few actually, but for now, in grade 8, you only do 2, and that is going to be this one, the CRJ, and the one that we're going to start with tomorrow, the CPJ. Can a few of you just indicate to me on the group how far you are? Do you still need more time? Right, will it be okay if we can continue now? So I'm going to go to the next slideshow where the answers will be, okay, in the CRJ. But you got the transactions with you as well if you want to go back. So on the completed CRJ on the next slideshow, you will see that I will know what the transaction is all about. Okay, but before we go into the next slideshow, let us just quickly scan through the transactions. What there is going to be in the transaction. Sorry, Natalie, I was reading what you're saying. Yes, we are going to do the corrections right now. Okay, so just hang on. So on the first, they say, is Snow start the business by investing? By investing 350,000 directly into the bank account of the business, issue receipt number 1. So remember, we've got the name there on the first, it's 350,000. If you invest money, then it's a capital transaction. It's going to be receipt number 1, and the amount went directly to the bank account. All right, so we will look at it right now. On the 5th, it was a service fees transaction according to the cash register roll, 11,450. So it's a service fees transaction. There's no name at all. Your source document is the CRR. On the 9th, they say issue a receipt for rent receipt from W. Harper, 3,000 Rand. So there we've got a receipt. It's for rent. We've got a name and the amount is 3,000. On the 14th, remember 2 transactions here. The first part is services, no name, 13,600. So that will be a cash register roll. And then the second part of that transaction on the 14th is Snow invested a further 15,000 into the business for capital, and the receipt was issued. So there we've got the name, 15,000, it's for capital, and it is a receipt. And then on the 27th, commission received from P. Smith for 5,000 Rand, issue a receipt. So we've got a name, we've got the amount, it's a receipt, and it's for commission. So I've just quickly scanned through the transactions, but here the answers is going to follow now, and then we're going to look at them. Right, so there's the answers. Right, so at the top, there is the format of the columns I've given to you. And then let's look at the first transaction on the 1st. It was receipt number 1 that was issued. There was a name of a person in the transaction, is Snow. The amount 350,000 Rand, it was for capital, and they said it went directly to the bank account. So the amount will go directly to bank, not with analysis of receipts. And what was the transaction all about? Capital. And capital always comes with sundry accounts because there is not a capital column at the top. Right, the next transaction on the 5th, you will see with the document number column, it's a CRR, a cash register roll, because with details, it was for services rendered. There was not a name of a person in the transaction. The amount, 11,450, is going to analysis of receipts. It's the only transaction for that day, so it will go to bank. And every time when you write the words with detailed services rendered, then it also goes to current income. Right, next one on the 9th. On the 9th, you will see there it was receipt R2 for W. Harper with details, because there was a name of a person. 3,000 Rand goes to analysis of receipts. With bank, because it was the only transaction for that day. And I've told you in the transaction it is for rent. There's not a rent column at the top. So then it goes to sundry accounts. And important, okay, I will say it at the end of this activity again. Look at what is standing with sundry accounts. Not just the word rent. It is rent income. With sundry accounts with the details, you must write the correct name of the account. And in this case, Rent income is the correct name of the account. You will see later on we're going to get a commission income as well, but I will repeat that at the end of the activity. Okay, I just want to see there's somebody that's saying, can we please go back for 2 seconds to the homework slide? All right. I actually also want to go back now, especially with the next transactions on the 14th, where there are 2 transactions. So I'm quickly going back now, and then you can see there, and then maybe I'm just going to give you a few seconds to check there, and then we will look at the 14th, where there are 2 transactions. Also, in the meantime, people, remember, they're going to put these links to the slideshows. They're going to put it, it will be all the videos on YouTube. So you can go back and look at the videos again and look at the transactions and the homework and all those things again. And then you can go and practice it again as well. All right, so let's see. Remember on the 14th, I'm going to jump around between the slideshows now. On the 14th, there are 2 transactions, but let's look at the first one first. Services rendered for 13,600. Okay, so remember that. So on the 14th, there's the first transaction, the CRR, the cash register role. There was not a name of a person, so it's services rendered. 13,600 goes to analysis of receipts, but you cannot do bank now. I always say you keep bank now on hold. Why? Because there are 2 transactions on the 14th. Okay, you only do bank after the last transaction. So you keep bank on hold, but you need to say for what is the 13,600. If it's for services rendered, then you must also write it in with current income. Then I'm quickly going back for the next transaction on the 14th. S. Snow invested a further 15,000 into the business for capital, and a receipt was issued. So remember, there's the name, 15,000, it's a capital transaction, and the receipt was issued. So there's the second transaction on the 14th. It is a receipt, and we now with receipt number 3. We've got the name of details is Snow. It was 15,000 Rand that was deposited in the business. So the amount goes directly to analysis of receipts with the business safe. You need to say for what is the 15,000. It is for capital. There's not a capital column at the top. So you take it to sundry accounts. But remember now with bank, there are 2 transactions on the 14th. You need to add them up, and the total you're going to take to bank, and that is 28,600. So again on the 14th, 2 transactions there, but bank you only do at the end of the day. So you add up the 2 transactions amounts and take the total to bank. Okay, let's just quickly go back for the last one. So on the 27th, commission receipt from P. Smith for 5,000 Rand, issue a receipt. So remember, it's commission. We've got a name, P. Smith, 5,000 Rand, and it's for, and the source document is a receipt. So we are now with receipt number 4 on the 27th. We've got a name, P. Smith. 5,000 Rand goes to analysis because it was paid with the business. I see I've missed the 5,000 Rand with the bank here, sorry. So 5,000 Rand must also be indicated here with bank. And then 5,000 Rand is going for commission income with sundry accounts. Why? Because there's not a commission income column at the top. That is why you take it to sundry accounts. Okay, so sorry, my mistake. Just remember there with bank, there must be 5,000 Rand entered. Right, then you will see what I've done here, and I didn't tell that yesterday to you guys, so please take note. You need to add up the columns except analysis of receipts, okay? That means you're going to take bank, you're going to add up all the totals, and remember that 5,000 Rand, okay, to get the in total. The same with current income. You need to add up. So you add up the 11,450 and the 13,600 to get the in total there at the bottom. And you do exactly the same with the sundry accounts. So you add up all those totals to get the total, the 373,000 at the bottom. Okay. Don't worry why you need to do this. Sometime, maybe at the end of the year, you're going to make use of these totals at the bottom to do the next step in the accounting. But just remember for now, you need, after you have entered all the transactions in the CRJ, you need to add up all these columns, the bank column, the current income column, and the sundry account column. But I will repeat that in the future as well. So basically, there are your exercise. Like I said, don't worry, you can go back to get the information. Right. Lucille is asking, where do you get the document numbers? Okay. Normally, like with the receipt, they will, with the first transaction, they will give you the first receipt number. So they will tell you their receipt number 1. I just want to go back. So there you can see, there on the first, they've told you receipt number 1 there. Okay. And then you need to know with the next receipt number that you must continue with the next number. So for instance, on the 9th was the next receipt. So you need to know, you need to continue with the next receipt number. So if on the 1st it was receipt number 1, then it will be receipt number 2 on the 9th. And like on the 14th, it will be receipt number 3, and on the 27th, receipt number 4. So you just continue with the numbers for the receipts. All right, any questions, people? Right, doesn't look like that. Oh, well, people, that's it then for today. Okay, thank you very much. Then I will see you tomorrow. Be ready tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to start continuing with the next journal. So it's starting to get a lot of them now. All right. So yes, otherwise I will see you tomorrow morning again. So 9 o'clock, it's quite early and I know it's cold, but be ready. Okay, if there's any questions in the meantime, people, write it down, and then you're also more than welcome to ask it tomorrow, or even, like I said, you're more than welcome to send me an email. My details was on the first slide. All right, people, thank you very much. Goodbye.